It was a game between two teams trying to make a late scramble for the final playoff spot. And in the end, the Sunrisers had too much firepower for the Rajasthan Royals today. You're watching another episode of End of Days Play, and this is Uninvited Opinions. Nags, a game where the Royals never got going, and after an initial burst from Jofra Archer, the Sunrisers Hyderabad just blew them away.
Is it okay if we begin with how the chase panned out, and then we'll
Absolutely.
get back to the Rajasthan batting a little bit later?
Let me tell you something in case you forget. This is our show; we can do whatever we want. So,
yes. So coming to chase a middling total that is 155, which obviously was below par. The only way for Rajasthan was to strike early and get the big guns from Sunrisers back and put them back in the hut, and that is what would have given them any reasonable chance of restricting Sunrisers, and that's exactly what they did. It was a matchup that was mouth-watering. Jofra Archer on one side and David Warner on one side, and we already had the first leg between these two sides again, where Archer actually cleaned up Warner, and they have a history going back into the Ashes and whatnot. So a lot was basically expected, and it exactly panned out the way Rajasthan wanted. Smith started early with a very attacking field, having two slips. Warner nicked off for a very lucky, fortuitous boundary behind, and then the very next ball caught at second slip by a diving Ben Stokes. So perfect, going as per the script. And then the very next over of Jofra Archer, he disturbs the castle of the other opener, the other gun player from Sunrisers, Johnny Bairstow. And then you begin to wonder, there is no Kane Williamson in the chase today. Warner and Bairstow are back. And is this the boost that Rajasthan wanted? But there were two players who actually had other ideas. And obviously, Smith made it a little easy for them by not giving Archer third over. I know we can obviously always talk in hindsight what could have happened had he had the third over on the trot, and had he got one of those two again nicking out. The story could have been different, may not have been different. But then that was some punt that maybe Smith, with his attacking instincts, should have gone for. It again brings back to mind the instance where Chris Gale took that 26 runs off Tushar Deshpande, where DC captain Shreyas Iyer could have gone for Ravichandran Ashwin, although he does come on the following over and takes Gale out. But then those 26 runs probably gave just the kind of momentum that Punjab needed in that game. And I think today, by trying to preserve Archer for a later stage in the innings, the two guys took the full toll of it and probably actually went on to stitch together the match-winning partnership. So all credit where it's due. Manish Pandey batted beautifully. He grabbed the bull by its horns. He went on the attack, and he was ably supported by Vijay Shankar. Not much was expected of him. At least I don't rate him much. I must confess, today he proved me wrong to some extent, and I'm pleasantly surprised. It's a very confidence-boosting win for Sunrisers.
The form that Manish Pandey showed and the touch that he was in, he was just whacking everyone to all parts of the ground. That allowed Vijay Shankar enough time to sort of settle in, find his rhythm, find his groove. And then he came into his zone against the leg spinners, hitting them inside out over extra cover, which was really nice to watch. And then he took his chance against Jofra Archer in his final over and then hit him for 3 boundaries. So all in all, Sunrisers must have been extremely pleased with this batting performance to find, again, new batting heroes rather than just relying on their key combination of Warner and Bairstow. For Rajasthan, I think this unfortunate thing was, apart from Jofra Archer, none of their other bowlers sort of stepped up or could create any sort of pressure on the Sunrisers Hyderabad. And that's probably a theme which also sort of, plagued them when they started their batting, actually, because the only person at the start of the innings who showed any sort of hitting form was Robin Uthappa, who after hitting a couple of eye-catching boundaries and sixes, he then got run out. Ben Stokes, unfortunately, was just struggling for any sort of rhythm today, and I think it's safe to say that it's probably a match for him to forget. Wasn't great with the bat, was quite poor with the ball, and I think that sort of hurt Rajasthan going into the rest of their batting innings.
I know we are going to sound like revisiting the same points that much of the other analysts would have brought up all through the game as well as post-game. The opening combination somehow is hurting Rajasthan.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever may have been the strategy in the back room to bring Stokes and let him bat up the order and find him some form while the ball is still coming onto the bat, I think that's just not working. It's now 3 or 4 innings in a row that has happened. And apart from the scratchy innings against Delhi Capitals, where he got a reasonable score, he just has been found wanting in terms of his timing and in terms of his approach, coming hard at the ball, losing his shape and not able to time a single shot. So that, I would say, to some extent, even after the loss of Uthappa, when Sanju Samson was looking fluent, I believe it was Stokes' lack of fluency which prompted Samson to probably go for one shot too many. So I felt in more than one ways, Stokes' promotion to the top is hurting Rajasthan. And if Stokes is not contributing enough with the ball as well, I think it's best to go back to Josh Butler at the top and either ask Stokes to bat down the order, or if you think he is not the man, then bring in someone of the likes of David Miller.
Absolutely. And I think there were a number of Englishmen on display today, but the one who had the best, experience must have been the one sitting in the commentary box, Mark Nicholas. I think looking ahead, right? I think Rajasthan, they've only got 3 more games to go, and they've got to win all 3 games to get to 14 points, which would give them a chance to make it to the playoffs. I think they've tinkered with their lineup a little too much to our liking. We've been, asking. We've opined in the past as well that they need to probably utilize their best batsman, Josh Butler, at the top of the order, give him as much time as possible. And I'm hoping that they correct that in the next 3 games, allow him to have a maximum impact on the game. If he gets out, he gets out. But at least then you've given him the opportunity to influence the game. And I think kudos to the Sunrisers bowling as well. They never let Rajasthan get away with it. Vijay Shankar actually had a good game with the ball as well. It's the second consecutive game where his supposedly weaker suit, if I can call it that. I'm not sure what his strongest suit is, but with his bowling, he was quite economical. Took the important wicket of Josh Butler today, and all around was apart from Natarajan, who had an off day, the rest of the bowlers sort of stepped up and kept the run rate always in check and kept Rajasthan down to a manageable total of 154.
Yes, so I feel even the introduction of Jason Holder, again, Kane Williamson, we thought was not the out and out T20 player. Jason Holder is not the out and out T20 player. He doesn't even make it into the starting 11 of the West Indies national team, T20 team. But then what he brings is a wealth of experience in terms of game awareness and a very steady head on his shoulders. So he bowled a very steady spell. So he took 3 wickets and also accounted for Robin Uthappa's run out. So all in all, a great day in the field for him. And I dare say, if there was an opportunity for him to bat, he would have fancied his chances with the bat as well. So I believe an injured Williamson going out and Holder coming in does not necessarily hurt the balance of Sunrisers. So much so that today Shahbaz Nadeem was required to bowl only 2 overs. So now it gives enough bowling options for David Warner. And I think that lends a greater stability. Of course, their batting will be tested.
I still think they could probably, given that they're not using Nadeem as much as they want, they could still probably swap him and bring back Abhishek Sharma to give a little more weight to the batting. But then let's see what they do in the remaining games. For the player of the match, there had to be just one person. It has to be Manish Pandey. He was just fantastic. From the moment he hit those couple of boundaries of Kartik Tyagi, you realized that he was in the zone, and you just knew that it was his day. Everything that he was connecting was coming out of the middle of the bat. It was just lovely to watch.
Absolutely. Some great hitting form. He's always been the one who's made those fluent 20s and 30s and only had 2 half centuries prior to this in this tournament. So if he had to make a statement, he had to score big. And that's what he did today. And his tempo was fantastic to watch. It wasn't as if he was just trying to make use of the power plays and go aggressive at the top. His aggression was there right throughout. And his aggression was not to be confused with recklessness. So he was always there. It was a measured stroke making on display. And to come up with 8 sixes, I believe that is great hitting form that he's shown. And I think Sunrisers will be mighty pleased.
Looking ahead at tomorrow's game, it's a clash between the Mumbai Indians and the Chennai Super Kings. Should I even ask you how this game is going to pan out tomorrow?
I think for once we should take away the table standings because we can just go by the rivalry that these two teams always bring to the table, going back down the years. So I think Chennai obviously won the opening encounter in this year's IPL. So obviously Mumbai would try to even that score. But on the other side, Chennai could be now just trying to play the spoil sport for every other team that it plays. So going with the attitude of nothing to lose, you never know what Chennai could bring tomorrow. So I would still say Mumbai are the favorites, but they should be up for a tough fight from Chennai.
I'd be interested to see if Chennai gave any of the youngsters in the squad a go in the remaining games. That's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to keep more videos coming your way. And as always, we'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, see ya.